We got this story from the Wall Street Journal breaking. Elon Musk has said he is committing around $45 million a month to a new pro-Trump super PAC. Other backers of America PAC include Palantir Technologies co-founder Joe Lonsdale and the Winklevoss twins.
Mm-hmm. Wild.
Wow.
But they had supported, I mean, they came out a couple weeks ago on Trump's side. I mean, it is fascinating to see that this is becoming an issue that's bigger than just, elites in the cities vote this way and rural people vote this way.
Well, it's interesting. Elon Musk's evolution on this has been organic, and you could see the trajectory. In the early stages when he bought Twitter, everyone's like, cynical. Is he going to be free speech or not? And whether or not he's second best to Rumble, as far as I'm concerned, that's a close second best, and it's a good place to be. But they went after Elon Musk, and he saw what they did to him in Delaware. He saw what the governments were trying to do to him in Brazil. And now he says, F it. This is not just a war against Trump. This is not just a war against me. This is a war against the Western values as we know them. Mm-hmm. And holy, $45 million a month, that'll buy you a lot of ad space, a lot of grassroots ground support.
I mean, I can't do the math fast enough, but we've got 4 months to go. I mean, it's an insane amount of money.
225 million.
So he's going to donate $250 million instead of Trump. Like, that's an insane number. I can't even believe we've reached that level. But I do think you're right. I think with Elon Musk, what I find so interesting is that he is an inspirational character to so many. I mean, he's really, done a lot with his life. But also he's sort of a mystery. People don't always know where his loyalties are. People don't always know exactly what his values are. Has a ton of children. Seems to have them with lots of people. Like, there's stuff that it isn't orthodox conservatism, so to speak. And it does seem like it is his values and worldview starting to align with the things that people are saying. If we can only take a certain things forward into the future with us, these are what they want them to be. We want them to be free speech. We want them to be securities, and we want them to be a certain level of honesty from all of these pillars of society.
Well, 9 kids with multiple women. It might not be conservative values, but gosh
12.
darn it, that's freedom. Okay,
12.
The freedom to go around and spread your seed.
Yeah.
But, no, it's
Isn't
amazing.
That like a big part of his point? Isn't
he was like,
I don't know. I was just making a joke.
He was early days like the birth rate is collapsing and we need to do something. Stop talking about overpopulation.
Putting himself where his mouth is.
He's putting his seed where his mouth is, which is
He is personally going to turn around our birth rate. But the reality is that was a conversation people weren't open to having. Not even because they were against it, because they were like, that's so weird and abstract. Like when Elon Musk gets behind something, it's actually leading you in an interesting and probably important direction. He doesn't talk about things just because he's feeling like it. He talks about them because he feels as though they are going to have a major impact. Then he goes and does the thing. That's true. Yeah. Then he has 12 children. What are the rest of you doing?
12 children, rocket ships, Cybertrucks.
I think Wednesday we're going to get the updated polls, and it's going to be tremendous for Trump. I think in aggregate we might see him up 4 or 5 points, and that's me being conservative. But I got to be honest, if we saw an aggregate polling showing Trump at +9, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, it wouldn't be surprising.
The down ballot consequences are what's going to be very significant here. So big pickups in the Senate and on House is what's going to be huge.
Well, and also they basically halted the movement to replace Biden. Like, okay, that's it. I don't know why they would do that. Actually, to me right now, it'd be like, okay, well, now we've got nothing to lose, so get him out. So we'll see how that plays out. I'm still betting that it won't be Biden on the ticket, but
why? Why do you think it won't be?
Because
he's just going to fail that much that
I think there might be a coup.
Him?
Well, okay, if I go they've
been working on the coup. That's why he said that bullseye thing to a bunch of donors a week before the assassination attempt.
Well, maybe they can impeach him now and remove him and then replace him with somebody else. I mean,
it would have to be Congress to impeach him, and Republicans wouldn't vote for that.
Well, okay, there's
Not now,
I haven't
anyway.
thought that through yet, but if we want to go like real tinfoil hat conspiracy theory,
let's go for it.
And I don't like putting this juju out in the universe, but a retaliatory attack on Kamala and Biden from a far-right extremist.
This is a terrible plan.
No, not terrible. And it's a terrible plan. But they are evil, and if they've got nothing left to lose, false flags galore.
See, I think the desperation from the DNC to sort of get away from this replace Biden narrative is interesting to factor in. I mean, nothing was changing the story. We were talking about Biden's gaffe. We were going back through old footage. He was making, Vice President Trump and President Putin comments. Like, he couldn't stop it. Like, this is really the only thing that has somewhat changed the media's attention. And so I think you're right. There, you could take this into a very, very dark place, and it's just not for me to speculate about who and why and where. But I think in the Biden campaign, needed the narrative to change really badly. And this is one of the issues they now have with messaging, right? Because they have been so divisive. They can't now come back and say, like, just kidding, we think Trump's an okay guy. Like, you saw this thing when he announced, when they announced that J.D. Vance was vice president. I'm sure we'll talk about this more later, but Biden had a statement pretty readily available. It was there. I mean, how long did it take him to respond to the attack in Pennsylvania? A lot longer. It's obvious to me that all of this is something that the Biden campaign was both not prepared for and also are completely out of control. What I wonder what will happen when the polls come out is how far down he will fall. It's not that Trump will surge. It's that Biden will become more unpopular because they cannot figure out how to get their narrative back on track.
I just want to say one thing, because I know Tim's sensitive to it, and as am I. Anybody calling for retaliatory whatever is Fed or Fed adjacent. Disown them, disavow them, and get the hell away from them, because there's no need for it, and it would never be the right thing in the first place, because you do not defeat the monster by becoming the monster. You've just replaced the monster.
That's right. And predicted right now, Donald Trump, 68 cents to win. That's about 68% to win. Joe Biden at 26 cents, Kamala at 12. But Trump is 2-1 the favorite right now in the predicted betting market.
Speaking of Fed, something I thought was interesting, I watched Joe Biden's address yesterday, and when he was like rattling off the various other acts of political violence, of course not missing the opportunity to condemn the spread of misinformation and insist that foreign actors were trying to meddle in our democracy. I don't know about you, but I noticed he didn't bring up the Michigan kidnapping hoax.
No, he brought it up.
Oh, he did?
He brought up
But he
Whitmer.
didn't bring up January 6th. There were a lot of events that I would have thought that he would have brought up, but they sort of hammered in on, no pun intended, on certain events that he purposely didn't mention. And are you sure he mentioned? Maybe he did. I
think
didn't
he
hear
mentioned.
it.
I think he mentioned both.
Maybe. I was listening to it and I was looking for it and he didn't. Anyways,
Okay.
we can look after. But anyways, I thought that speech was just it was an interesting vibe for him to strike if he even knew what he was saying.
Yeah, that's the other thing with everything. Like, we go comb through Biden's social media history. I stand by. He cannot operate Twitter. He can barely operate the stairs, Like, he is not actually writing any of these posts. He's not like Trump, who is like, oh, I can't be on Twitter anymore. I will start my own media company. Like, it's very different. And so you were mentioning earlier, like, the concept of or the potential for it to be dog whistles. I mean, that would be an internal staffing issue, right? That would mean whoever's in charge of putting these tweets out is saying, like, I'm going to give some spicy language. It would further indicate that Biden is not in control of the ship he's theoretically captaining, and it's to the detriment of the country.
I also think that's sometimes why he comes off so discombobulated. Obviously, part of it is the cognitive decline. But, Trump speaks for himself, right? Trump is best when he is unfettered, pure, raw Trump. And Biden is, I feel like, this weird collection of just a bunch of different advisors and like weird staffers who probably deep down all have very different political leanings, right? And it comes out in this weird amalgamation that is like a Joe Biden speech. So he has probably all these voices, right, in his head of different people advising him. And that's why he's like, well, I didn't mean bullseye, I meant crosshair. It's like it's competing voices telling him what to say, whereas Trump can be so on message and so direct because he thinks for himself, right? He can make his own picks. With Joe Biden, it's like a little bit of this wing of the Democratic Party, a little bit of this. Oh, I was just on the phone 5 minutes with this guy before I spoke. So you get this weird mixture of gobbledygook, as Steve would say.
Trump was at the rally before he got shot. He was saying, I'm going to go off prompter. Do you mind? Something like that. Do you mind? Like, they hate it when I do it, but these prompters are so boring. And he just talks to the crowd and he's funny.
Yeah. I mean, that's his biggest asset of all. I mean, even the fact that there was a prop on stage and he's gesticulating. I mean, we can never say, but some of these things seem to have played into what saved his life. And I think that there was always sort of a very clear contrast between Trump and Biden. No one was mistaking them for each other. They aren't two politicians who are polished and poised in the same way. It really feels like now it's even more pronounced, in part because Trump is rallying the country forward and Biden is slowly disintegrating in front of us.
Yeah, and one of the crazy things, and again about this, obviously every part of this is really crazy, but before the shooting, before the attempted assassination, it was just a regular Trump rally. Everything was going well.
Well, you were there.
I wanted to tell you guys a funny little story where I feel so ambivalent about. I was actually covering the Trump rally for Timcast News. I was there a couple of
Timcast
hours
News on Twitter
before the shooting, and then I remember getting a notification saying the Trump rally was in Butler, Pennsylvania, but then I got a notification saying, oh, Jill Biden's having a campaign event for Joe Biden just an hour away. And I thought, I've covered dozens of Trump rallies. They're actually kind of boring after you hear the same spiel, talk to all the Trump supporters and whatnot. So I head out to go to this Jill Biden campaign rally. I ended up speaking to some supporters. I thought I got some great coverage there. I leave there. I see on Twitter as I'm driving out towards Milwaukee of the horrible news about Trump. A couple of hours out. Obviously, the story's not about me. It was a crazy series of events. And
I mean, it was definitely interesting being on staff because our executive editor, Chris Card, reached out to me being like, can you jump on your laptop? Like, we got to get some stuff out. And I knew you had been there. And there was a moment where I was like, do I need to text Elad right now? Like, is he okay? And then I happened to open my phone, and the last tweet you had put up, what was coming in my feed was like something from Joe Biden.
Did you see that Aaron Rupar, right, who obviously covers like every Trump rally ever? This was the only rally that he decided to take off so he could go to a concert with his mom.
Can I think I just put something together. The Jill and Kamala thing was the same day and the same time as Trump.
That's
simultaneously,
right.
yes.
And that would be the explanation for why Secret Service
was divided.
Was divided.
Which
Although
they say no.
They say
I don't
they
believe
weren't.
it's true.
Well, just add that. Appreciate that Biden's live speech last night. And I'll put it in quotes because I don't know what evidence we have that it was live.
I agree with you.
I think it was pre-recorded because he has to take a number of takes to get that thing done. But stick a little red live in and people will believe it. It was supposed to be a eulogy. And it was supposed to be Biden saying, this is a terrible tragedy. This is the result of Trump's terrible words. And we must unify as a nation right now. And then they would have chalked it up to the fact that, the Secret Service and FBI was all split because we happened to have planned an event in the same state, a corrupt state, the same day that Trump is there. You've just confirmed it in my mind. This is definitely a Lee Hop, and that was their alibi.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.